Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome to a brand new Let's Play of A Light in the Dark. Now this was a game I stumbled across last year on Steam when using their discovery queue function. It looked interesting to me. I saw that it had a demo. I played it, all the way up until what I vaguely remember it being what I assume was the entirety of the game's first chapter. I liked it, I added it to my wishlist on Steam, and I eventually bought a copy when it went on sale. And so, I now finally decided to make time to play this thing, and so here we are. Now, this is another visual novel game where my decisions throughout the story can impact both the flow of the story itself, my relations with other characters, and most likely what kind of endings I'd get. It's basically the usual visual novel flair. Now, what exactly is the plot for this particular visual novel I'm playing now? Well, if you haven't already checked out the video description for this particular video or read the playlist description for this new series I'm starting, if you're viewing this on YouTube, I will just let the very beginning of the game do the talking for me, because I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna bungle my explanation here. So, yeah. If you don't really feel like reading what I've already written in either descriptions I've provided here, then just stick around and wait until I start the game, and then just watch for a little bit, and then, well, there you go. You'll find out reasonably quickly just what exactly is going on with this thing, or at least the initial setup of it, anyway. But before I go ahead and start, I'm gonna look at my options real fast. Okay, everything on volume is set to 100%. I did a little quick test recording here to see how my voice sounded next to the audio and everything when left at the default settings for volume. And I think I sound okay. Like, I don't sound noticeably louder than the game, and the game itself doesn't sound noticeably louder than I do. Like, everything is perfectly balanced. Although, obviously I'll find out for sure if that's indeed the case once I actually start the game, and I have a whole different slew of different in-game tracks and sound effects and whatnot to listen to whenever I'm commentating on stuff. Anyway, I think the only thing I want to mess with the configurations is maybe marking red messages. So that way I will get a visual indication of dialogue I've already seen before. Because again, I know this is a multiple choice sort of story here, and whoa, no, I do not want to exit the game. And that I'm bound to probably get like at least a couple different endings. It's just a way for me to streamline the process whenever I'm going through segments of the game that I've already gone through before whenever I'm replaying parts of it. So let's go ahead and just start this and just see what kind of lousy situation I've found myself in. There was a saying: the world is one big, intricate machine, with the people as its cogs, and the laws as its screws. The countless pieces connect with each other in order to operate. Through continuous refining, on top of repeated collapse and reconstruction, modern society is eventually formed. The more complicated a machine appears to be, the more delicate it really is. One loose screw would stop the whole thing. One failed detail would lead to collapse. Therefore, we must be ever vigilant and watchful, and remove every single problematic piece. Mommy needs to head out and take care of something, so have dinner without me. You can eat whatever you like. Now, if memory serves, I think this game was made on the Repni engine, so I think one of my keys here on my keyboard. Oh, never mind. Right-click does the job. Well, at least now I know what. Now I remember what exactly I need to do if I want to look at the full CG artwork. Anyway, Mommy needs to head out and take care of something, so have dinner without me. You can eat whatever you like. If Daddy calls, just tell him I'm in a class, okay? The laughter of an unknown man, hurried footsteps, and the sound of an engine starting. Yeah, I think I might remember this plot point. Again, it's been a while since I played a demo. I don't remember much of anything, to tell you the truth. So, a friend of yours, miss? A close friend? It was at that moment I heard the sound of dissonance from the machine. It was very cold. I felt a freezing chill as I regained consciousness. It wasn't so much that I felt cold when I awoke, but that an icy draft had caused me to wake up. As I opened my eyes, they were met by darkness. All I could make out was that I was in some sort of small room. This place was unknown to me. It wasn't my room, nor was it a hotel room. My head hurt as if I had a hangover. I tried to stand up in order to find some sort of light switch, but all I felt from my legs was numbness. Where am I? The smell of cigarettes and mold in the air was nauseating. As I fought to regain my bearings, I realized that something was not quite right. You know, if the music playing in the background right now didn't clue you in. What happened to me? A sense of unease overcame me. I tried to calm down and organize my thoughts. I recalled that I was on my way home from cram school. Finally up, rich boy? Who are... An unfamiliar voice rang in my ears, right when I opened my mouth to ask. Ooh. Out of nowhere, a foot swiftly sunk itself into my stomach, launching me toward the wall. I felt my stomach turn, and I almost vomited. However, all that came out was a dry fit of coughing. I couldn't stop spasming on the ground. All that was on my mind was the intense pain, yet I was also too scared to make any sound. Countless questions went through my mind, but before I could speak, I heard that cold voice again. Who gave you permission to talk? I wasn't aware I needed permission to speak, lady. There was no change in her expression as she watched me struggle. There was nothing but a look of pure animosity in her eyes. You better keep your mouth shut. I do not have the patience nor intention to play nice with you. Got that? I struggled to stand up, then came to the shocking realization that my limbs weren't numb. They were tightly tied up with rope. I struggled against it, but the rope was far tighter than I imagined. Rich boy, Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? Or do you only respond after a good beating? Bitch. Another kick made me almost scream and curse at her. However, knowing now was not the time to confront her, I grit my teeth to force myself to stay calm. Anything I said at that moment could be fatal. I had to grasp the situation first. Good thinking, buddy. Suddenly, she got closer. Not realizing her intention, my body instinctively tried to move away from her touch. Scared. Noticing my slight reaction, she gave a snort of contempt. The last shred of defiance disappeared as soon as the blade touched my body. There was no chance of victory no matter how I resisted. I waited for her next move. All you could hear in the quiet room was our shallow breathing. The tip of the blade moved across my skin, making a small cut. My tensed-up nerves were extra sensitive, detecting the exact temperature of the air, the crudeness of the rope, and the sharpness of the blade. There was a certain feeling of warmth from the blood that flowed out from the wound and down my arm. Nevertheless, my mind was extremely clear. Kidnapping, human trafficking, organ trade. All three options do seem likely. That's what I would assume if I were in your shoes. A few possibilities came to mind, but there was no way to determine which. Since we have to hang out a little before I get the ransom, let me make a few things clear. Don't try to run or talk without permission. I don't mind breaking a few bones. Humans can handle a few just fine, after all. You hear me? I nodded quietly. I couldn't digest all the information at once, but one key word stood out. Ransom. Now, hold on a sec. Okay, that's the configuration thing. Here we got our backlog. Escape key is my menu button. I don't remember if the game basically tells me how to open the in-game menu or not. So, just to be on the safe side, I will continue just playing for a little bit and seeing what happens. The blade left my skin, and I swore I heard a little sigh escape from her. There was a sound of light footsteps moving toward the wall. Before I could even feel confused, a glaring light broke through the darkness of the room. Not able to adjust to the sudden brightness, it took me quite a while to finally open my eyes. What came into view was totally foreign to me. The room was roughly 300 square feet in size. The wall that was meant for painting was now molted, its original color no longer visible. Time had had its way with the room, causing everything to become decayed. Be it the wooden chair, desk, or bed, the resulting smell of mold in the air was reminiscent of ruins you'd find in a movie. The owner of this place stood near the window with a taunting smirk on her lips. Never lived in a place like this, did you, rich boy? The words were clearly provocative. Bearing the burning pain, I tried to observe her observe her through the lamplight. She was a young-looking woman. She wore a dark overcoat and a scarf. Her shoulder-length hair casually scattered behind her back, with bangs almost covering her eyes. Surprisingly, she wore no face mask or helmet, nor made any attempt to avoid my staring. She didn't seem to mind her face being seen. She didn't have the stereotypical look of a criminal. Despite a hint of unease on her meager face, there wasn't an ounce of guilt within those dark brown pupils of hers that stared straight at me. You know what? I hate people like you. She was talking to herself, ignoring how pale my face was and making no attempt to elaborate. This was not a conversation, but a simple declaration. Who was she? Where was I? What did she want? Why did she do such a thing? Well, you kind of already answered the question to that last one earlier. Apparently she wants money. Countless questions circled around in my brain, but not a single sound came out of my mouth when I opened it. What did eventually come out was something totally unrelated. Why me? The unfamiliar, dry voice sounded like some rough sandpaper. Why? The girl mumbled my question next to the window. The light reflected off the girl's face. Orange spots of light scattered across her messy hair, dancing like fire. She hung her head in contemplation. It took her a while to raise her head again with a grin. No particular reason. As though it was only natural. The empty voice held no emotions, but instead a malevolent sense of pleasure. The world is just unfair. Isn't that your favorite line? Seeing the shock in my eyes, she chuckled. With that mocking statement, the curtain was raised for this kidnapping incident. Achievement unlocked. Kidnapping. So, yeah, I'm being held for ransom by a mysterious woman. That's pretty much the whole setup to this thing, really. Is this thing frozen right now or something? Oh. Well, apparently not. Why is it black for me? Oh, there we go. Got something. That's odd. Wonder why it's doing that. Might as well save, though. Okay, I think I see the next button right there. So let's click that. I stood in a world of darkness. There was no sky or ground, only endless darkness. A dream. I realized amidst all the fuzziness that I was in a dream, yet I couldn't control my thoughts. The intermittent noise was annoying, like a radio with poor signal. Suddenly, the ground began to slowly sink, as if it were quicksand. I tried to move my legs, but realized I couldn't move. My heels, my knees, and then my arms. The darkness gradually devoured my body. I heard that vivid disdain before my vision was overtaken. I hate people like you. Day 1. Morning. Note updated. So, as you guys have been seeing so far, I have a little stamina bar, which is showing right here at the top right. I basically gotta be careful with a lot of my actions, responses, etc. as I'm playing. Otherwise, if I piss off my kidnapper one time too many, or hell, I've never found out, but if I do somehow manage to say or do one thing that'll just make them just end me right then and there, well, game over for me, basically. So my objective is to, one of my objectives is to, well, my primary objective is to basically observe my situation as much as I can, and just along with trying to gather as much information from my kidnapper, just do everything I can basically to figure out what's going on, where I am, and what I can possibly do to escape my current predicament, using literally any little snippet of information I can find or anything I can see within the environment I'm currently in. Just the sort of thing you would expect that you should try to do if you ever found yourself in a kidnapping situation, really. So, situation. What time was it now? I couldn't tell the time. I needed to escape. Untying the rope was my only option. The only exits were the door and the window. Was there really nowhere else? And finally, I should try to converse with her. A better relationship could be beneficial. Pretty much, for that last one for sure, because, I mean, if you can get your kidnapper to lower their guard around you any way you can here, then obviously that'd be beneficial for you if you're trying to escape. And maiden. Obviously in reference to our kidnapper. A girl with long hair and sharp eyes. She didn't seem to be older than 30. Her pale skin didn't appear to be healthy, and she wore a clearly outdated overcoat and scarf. Well, her skin doesn't look too bad. Could be healthier, yes, but it's not that bad. Nothing a little bit of sunshine and some healthy vitamin-infused diet couldn't fix. I still didn't know who she was. If only I could get her name at least. That probably would be helpful to get a name. Yeah, that would be helpful to get a name here because, well, I'm pretty sure if I were to address her as Maiden, she would take that as an insult and just try to kick my nuts in. So, first priority, figure out what to call you. Why did she pick me as a target? Well, if we were to take her words at face value, no particular reason. But she did also speak a line to me, referencing a line that apparently my character likes to say, "Life is simply unfair." So that alone gives me a hint that maybe there is more to why in particular was kidnapped than she's letting on. It's not much. It's nothing. It's not really much to go on, all things considered, but it's something in my mind, personally speaking. Okay, I think that's everything, so I'm just gonna move on forward. Still half asleep, I opened my eyes. The room before me was still the same unfamiliar one. So it wasn't a dream. A long sigh couldn't relieve the depression in my chest, and my heart sunk into the pit of my chest. I was kidnapped. What was their objective? They already told you, ransom. What should I do? Well, although to be fair, maybe ransom is just part of the objective, so... Never mind, I guess it's not that dumb a question in this context. My mind was all blank. There was more confusion than fear. It's been said that in the presence of a threat, you either become petrified, try to flee, or try to fight. Reflexively stopping your actions to avoid catching predators' attention was probably the best way to describe how I felt. I tried to pull the rope, but nothing happened. The headache was hard to bear. The pain medication I usually kept on me was in my bag, which was out of reach in my current state. Damn it. My mind did get clearer after sleeping. Everything that happened yesterday still felt like a dream, but the reality of it was right before my eyes. Morning light brightened up the room. I could see the peeling paint on the wall and the old pieces of furniture. There was nothing but decay, as though it was untouched for a long time. Was it an abandoned, empty house? Or did they actually live here? The kidnapper was nowhere to be found. I couldn't hear anything, and thus couldn't tell how many people were around. Hold on. Yeah, I don't remember if the screen is supposed to be solid gray right now. I'm hoping it's not another glitch or something. Perhaps shouting for help might catch someone's attention, but the kidnapper might also be right outside the door. Let's contemplate the situation. Yeah, another thing that I should mention. Decisions in this game are typically given a time limit. So you gotta basically make quick decisions, basically, depending on the situation. You're not given a whole lot of time to really contemplate your options before having to choose something. Let's contemplate the situation. My yelling might not be heard, and I could be in trouble if I got the kidnapper's attention instead. I could still feel the pain from where I got kicked a day before. I tried to make myself a little more comfortable and relax my back by leaning on the wall. First, my physical condition. My hands were tied up to the point that I had no space to move around, let alone release the rope. My body overall was fine, but I couldn't really rest in this position. I had to save my energy to escape. So, where to start? How did I get kidnapped? My memory before arriving here. There we go, we got something. hope it has nothing to do with my recording software. Otherwise, this is gonna be a problem for me. I was on my way home from the cram school. Someone suddenly called my name when I passed by a road under construction. My mouth was covered before I could turn around. The last thing I remembered was the smell of some chemical. Some sort of anesthetic. Ether, maybe? This felt like some plot straight from a movie that I never imagined it would happen to me. Not that many people passed by that place, nor was there a surveillance camera. No one probably even noticed I was kidnapped yet. I was uncertain if there was an accomplice. Excuse me. I was not particularly bulky, but I doubt she could drag me away all by herself. In fact, who called me back then anyway? Despite my best effort, I couldn't even remember that person's gender. Note updated. Yeah, okay. This thing is acting screwy with me. I was kidnapped on my way home, but perhaps she wasn't the only one who was involved. What the hell's going on with this damn thing? Maybe if I adjust the resolution settings a bit? Actually, no. I got another idea. Let's try window mode. Okay. That's not doing shit. You gotta be kidding me. I can't even reach the damn thing now. It looks like lowering the game's resolution down a notch to 1280 by 800 seems to have fixed it. But if I try to go a full 1080p resolution, everything turns to gray. So maybe it's just a resolution issue? I'm gonna test this while I'm not recording, just to be absolutely sure that it has nothing to do with shadow play. But if it is just the resolution settings, then I have no idea why it would cause me issues like this, but yeah, if it is the resolution settings, then unfortunately it looks like then I won't really be able to play this game in full 1080p native resolution. So, yeah. My sincerest apologies for any possible inconveniences this may cause you guys. Now, let's see if I can get back to the spot I was at real quick. Okay, I think this is where I was at. Before I could think further, I heard footsteps outside. I couldn't help but tense up. Who was that? Before I made up my mind on how to respond, I saw the girl pushing open the door. And she's got a knife. I doubt she's here to give me a close shave, though. Holding the knife and wearing the same overcoat and scarf, she stared at me. I tried to look back calmly, but I could still clearly feel my rapid heartbeat. Finally up, rich boy. I looked at her silently, trying to guess her intention from her words and actions. It was an unfamiliar situation. I was in an unfamiliar situation, and there were too many questions still unanswered. The location, the time, their objectives. Any sort of information would help. You're free once your daddy pays up, so stay quiet. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what'll happen to you. After she told me that to me, she sat next to the window and lit a cigarette. It was easier to see her face in the sunlight. Her neglected long hair was messy, and her long bangs almost blocked her vision. Her pale skin wasn't makeup, more like something she was born with, or the result of poor health. Or maybe drug abuse? Hey. The girl's voice broke my train of thought. She stared coldly at me, with the cigarette still in her hand. I will make a few things clear. When I contact your dad, don't talk, don't move, don't have any funny ideas. This is not a game. I don't have the patience, and I don't mind shutting you up by breaking one or two bones. Digesting her every word, I pondered what to say. Trying to scare me. Yeah, probably not the best thing to say in this situation. Trying to scare me. I have plenty of time, so I dare you to try again. She spoke to me cruelly and kicked me again as though in revenge. Hao-Chen Shang, age 18, only son of CEO Hua-Chen. I'm positive I'm butchering these names. I am sorry. Address is Chongqing Road, Lane 2. Living by himself, buying breakfast at 10 a.m. every day, jogging at the park at 8 p.m. Cram school every Tuesday and Thursday, which ends at 9:30 p.m. Always takes the shortcut at the walkway under construction. She lazily read my information, and from time to time paused to look at me as though anticipating something. Quite comprehensive. She grunted after noticing my lack of reaction. Leaking personal information wasn't new, but it was still uncomfortable to hear someone knowing your daily routine like they knew their own garage. If she knew that much about me, did that mean an acquaintance of mine was behind all this? Well, that is certainly a possibility. My best attempts to remember still failed. Hard to believe she had any reason to pick me. No one but my parents and the building security knew my schedule, and none of them could be the leaker. Well, here's my argument. If you eliminate the impossible, then whatever it remains, however improbable, must be the truth. Now, if you are absolutely certain that there is absolutely no one else besides your parents or the building security who knew your schedule, then it's got to be one or the other. Either one of your parents or someone from the building security. Not a very comfortable thought, I realize, to think about, but I mean, well, as she said back to you earlier, life can be pretty damn unfair, and sometimes people who you think that you could trust will end up stabbing you in the back before you even realize it. Of course, I mean, that depends on the person. Not everyone's a backstabber, of course, waiting to happen, but I mean, there are some people that are like that. They'll gain your trust, and then, for one reason or another, they'll abuse it, and it'll come back to haunt you. That's why it's always a good idea to pick your friends and associates wisely. First things first. You don't have to keep my feet tied up, you know. I have no intention of running. Even if you don't believe me, my hands are still tied. Also, you have a knife. I couldn't run away like this even if I wanted to. It's really uncomfortable being tied up like this. And it's just I told you before. She interrupted me. She squatted before me and looked me right in the eye. I hate people like you. Having too much money to spend, never tasting any pain, and everything just goes your way. You know nothing, yet still act almighty, like some big shot. Uncomfortable? You think I care? Let's make you more uncomfortable, I say. What a messed up personality. I felt her animosity, but didn't want to explain it to her. Too many people found society to be unfair, always blaming their failures on someone else, thinking they were victims of the system. If it was that easy to convince her, she wouldn't have kidnapped someone in the first place. Got nothing left to say now. Noticing my silence, she tried to provoke me. What are you talking about? I knew I shouldn't try to argue with her, but I couldn't stop myself. I couldn't tolerate such an extreme take on things. If I let her keep going, she might think she was onto something. I don't know anything about you, yet you think you know everything about me. My words went straight for the fallacy of her logic. I couldn't help but laugh. If you just want to take it out on someone, say it. Stop making it sound like everyone owes you. I am running really low on stamina. Shut up. A kick with full force narrowly missed me. I gasped in pain and anticipation. You are all the same. What else can you do except babbling? Nothing, am I right? I smirked in despise, staring at her face and twisted in anger. I think the word you were looking for was disdain. Okay, so I got some actions. So this pretty much plays as what I was saying before. I have the options to basically either chat with whoever's in the room with me, observe my surroundings, or rest, which I'm sure you can deduce allows me to basically recover my stamina a bit. Before I make a decision, I'm going to check my notes. Her animosity against rich people made it impossible to communicate with her. Well, to be fair, I was acting a bit standoffish, so why don't I just rest a little bit? I should rest when I get the chance. So let's rest. I can't observe anything, so let's try to strike a conversation. Talk mode. Click on the icon to return to the previous page, and click on one of the topics. The listing will change as you progress through the story. So let's speak to older girl. Now, I believe I remember saying that I should try to get your name, so we already have a general idea of what she wants, and that is to get a ransom from me, so it would be pointless for me to ask this question. Obviously, I'd get absolutely nowhere if I were to ask her to untie me, unless it was like my feet or something specific. If I could somehow manage to convince her that untying one part of me won't really make much of a difference in my ability to escape, if any at all. So, best bet, what's your name? What's your name? The girl was staring at her phone and didn't hear my question, so I repeated it. Huang Yi. She carelessly said 2 syllables before suddenly shutting up. She raised her head and looked at me cautiously. Say again? I secretly remembered the partial answer, but acted as though I heard nothing. You think I'll tell you just so you can call the cops later? How should I address you then? Hearing my response, she burst into laughter. How to address me? Are you out of your mind? Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure that getting a different name other than Maiden would be a lot less likely for me to piss you off, so I don't think I'm out of my mind. Are you out of your mind? You can address me any way you want. I'm not here to make friends. Alright, you heard him, buddy. Let's refer to her as Maiden. Okay, so we got this little bit of her information crossed out. So her last name was Huang, but I still had no recollection of her. Yeah, okay, so there's no new options after I selected that, so I'm going to just rest some more. I should rest when I get the chance. I wasn't sure how much time had passed, and I had grown hungry. Still acting screwy with me, I see. I wasn't sure... Alright, I just read that. Never mind. My head still hurt a little, and my tied-up limbs only made me moody. She just sat there staring at her phone. She kept dialing some numbers with an anxious expression. Why don't you eat something? Not hungry. Did you already eat this morning? Just cut to the chase and stop beating around the bush, will you? She replied coldly, staring at me with a certain annoyance. Hey, chill. Keep babbling. I dare you. I'd be bad in a situation like this. Probably. If I were to just blurt out everything that came to mind. But to be fair, this is a visual novel. I do have the luxury of being able to come back to life and try again. So I can afford to be reckless if need be. After another kick out of nowhere, she looked down on me mercilessly. You want money, right? How much? None of your business. Well, considering that it's my daddy's money that you're trying to get, and how, I'm his son, I think, at least to an extent, it sort of is my business. I tried to negotiate with her, but she looked even more annoyed. Look, if you let me go now, all my money is yours. All the cash on me, and in my bank accounts. That should work, right? I will say nothing and pretend this never happened. I live by myself anyway. No one will suspect if I just say I took a walk. Shut up. You think I'm a fool? Why should I believe you? You think you can talk your way out of this? Well, I can't really do much of anything else, so what options do I have? Just shut up and wait for your daddy to pay. She snorted and showed no interest in my proposal. What if he won't? He will. She interrupted me, raising her eyebrow in response. You'll be in real trouble if he doesn't. I realized her implication. My dry chuckle felt bitter. She had a point. I would be in trouble without the ransom. I suppressed my worry, knowing it was not the time to panic. My priorities were collecting as much information as possible, replenishing my stamina, and finding a chance to escape. Can I have something to eat or drink? I haven't eaten anything since yesterday. Oh? The rich boy's already hungry after skipping one meal. Yep. I admitted without hesitation. My hunger was real, and there was nothing impressive about hiding that. She couldn't retort, so she poured me a glass of water from the bottle after a grunt. I can't grab it unless you untie me. Just lick it like a dog. I tried to convince her to loosen up the rope, but she had no intention of doing so. Let's just drink. Then please hold still. Hold it still. Seriously? Noticing I would do as she suggested, she sounded surprised. Well, I do need to recover my strength any way I can, so a little humiliation here is not really something to really sneeze at in the grand scheme of things. Wasn't it your idea? If you don't want to, you can just feed me yourself. Not breaking a sweat, I replied coldly. Pride was not edible, and I had to keep my strength. Why you? I was used to it. If someone wanted to insult or enrage you, just accept it plainly. People are like cats. They don't show interest in toys that don't struggle. Ain't that the fucking truth? It's no wonder then that we like cats so much as a species. Don't move. No longer composed, she moved closer to me with water in her hand. What are you? I was pressed to the wall without finishing my sentence. She bent my head and forced the water down my throat, like some sort of torture. And we got our first bit of voice dialogue. Want some more? She raised her eyebrow, smiling victoriously. And this is where I would say yes, please. Screw you. I think a better way of conveying that rather than just thinking it to yourself would just be to, well, ask for more. I couldn't say anything while choking. The spilled water soaked my clothes, making me tremble in this cold weather. That was straightforward and violent. But at least I can rest a little after drinking some water. See? It was worth it, degrading myself. I got some of my stamina back. I'm a genius. The cell phone was on the table started vibrating. She stole a glance at me with pursed lips after seeing the number. People had small gestures when they were under pressure, like pursing lips, flipping hair, and biting nails. The person in question might not be aware of it, but one's body language revealed his or her true emotions. Stay here, and don't you dare make a sound. Leaving with that threat, she walked out through the door with the phone. With the door closed shut, I vaguely heard a conversation outside, but was not able to figure out the exact content. Was it an accomplice? There would be even less of a chance to escape, if there were more of them. No shit, buddy. I sighed toward the sky, and the sky sighed back. As though mocking my effort, every undesirable outcome had occurred. If there was only her, then I had to rest as much as possible. There might be a chance to escape when she wasn't careful. The door wasn't the only exit. I might even be able to jump out of the window if I could free myself from the ropes. Well, I think you first need to figure out how high the damn window is from the ground level before you consider jumping out of there. Locations, head count, weapons. Too many uncertainties, let alone how to untie this damn rope. It was more practical to figure something out on my own than wait for rescue. It would have been ideal if I could persuade her to let me go. I absolutely could not trigger her before I was prepared. At the very least, I should get her to drop her guard to facilitate my escape. After that, I would play it by ear. Let's try to find something useful when she isn't around. Well, first off, let's rest a little more. Now, I think, okay, observation mode. Click on the icon to return to the page and click on this icon to change view. And when the cursor changes to the eye icon, you can look at certain objects by clicking on it. Okay. I think first off, I should look on what's on the desk with the cell phone and everything. It is a rectangular wooden desk. The rough, unprocessed surface has sawdust all over it. It looks like it's well worn with time. I wouldn't want to pick it up even if I found it at a recycling center. Excuse me for 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. I had to go to the bathroom. Let's see what else we can find. That looks like an awful lot of cigarette butts. The yellow paper reveals signs of age. It seems to be some popular video game from the past. There is nothing usable as a weapon except a pen, which is a poor choice against a knife. I don't know. Get a bit creative, a pen could be pretty fucking deadly. Day 1, noon. Let's look at my notes. There was nothing in my backpack that could cut the rope. If only I had something sharp. Nothing beyond that. The sunlight shone through the window at a certain angle, adding some dynamism to the dark room. Even the moldy smell seemed to be much fainter. Damn it. The girl walked back and forth in the room, anxiety clear on her face. What's wrong? Your dad doesn't believe you're with us. What an idiot. Why not let me talk to him? Shut up. Who do you think you are? Did I ask for your opinion? Triggering her sensitive nerve, she threw me another kick. I just think it might be more effective. No one cares what you think. Shut up and wait for the ransom. Got it? What's so funny? You think I won't lay a finger on you? She frowned upon hearing my laughter, then took out her weapon threateningly. No. It's just that I am not that important to him. What do you mean? Noticing how odd my statement was, she raised her eyebrow and followed up. I haven't contacted my family for a long time. Our relationship isn't as close as you may think. Ever since I got kidnapped, I've been wondering if I should tell her that or not. I was a poor choice for a hostage. Maybe she would let me go or silence me instead. However, it was only a matter of time before she found out, so I might as well have been transparent here. Why? Rebellious phase or something? He's self-centered. Or maybe just a workaholic? My complicated family relationship was hard to explain in a few words. I was deciding how to piece my sentences together to answer her question. He spends half a year abroad and never cares about the family. He'll work till midnight even when he is back in Taiwan. I don't even see him that often on holidays. It's always about the company. It's all for the stockholders and employees. Blah, blah, blah. In my opinion, it's all for his own ego. Whether it was my graduation, birthday, or even car accident. He never showed up. Not even a single damn call. Clearly his job is far more important than me. Well, clearly, I mean, even if a car accident, I would have figured that any self-respecting parent would at least try to contact their child somehow. It's pretty sucky, man. He probably wouldn't even know about the accident if not for the hospital calling an emergency contact. I tried to shrug, but my tied-up hands made it impossible. Anyway, if he doesn't care if I'm dead or alive. He might even feel relieved about me getting kidnapped. Sorry about that, but you would have better luck with his secretary. Hell, if you let me go now, I can even tell you his secretary's number as a bonus. I proposed to her half jokingly, yet her reaction was unexpected. She didn't open her mouth, instead just looking at me coldly from beside the window. You think that's funny? To my surprise, she walked to me while flipping her hair. You think you deserve sympathy? Want me to pity you? She grabbed my collar and pulled me so close I could feel her breath. Car accident? Hospitalized? Your daddy doesn't give a shit about you? Be fucking grateful I didn't leave you a pile of debt. You think everyone has a happy family? School, meals, a home. So many things you take for granted aren't the case for us. Stop acting like some victim if you know nothing. You just make me want to puke. Every word was delivered clearly. Her voice contained a certain indescribable weight. So, based on my own inference, I guess based on what you said, I can infer that she has a lot of debts to deal with. Seeing me not responding, she let go of my collar and spat on the ground angrily. I'm wasting my time. Realizing she might have spoken too much, she turned her head away and returned to the window like a bursted bubble. Well, that didn't work. I sighed lightly. Things wouldn't be that easy after all. It was true I wanted to win her pity, but that was no lie either. A father always working and a mom never home. That's the image of my family. Every time I was home, all I could see upon opening the door was the vast, empty living room. I noticed how big the house was. So big that I could only feel empty. I could feel only emptiness. I breathed out, raised my head, and looked at that small part of the sky from the window. The only lie was that I no longer felt hurt by it. Hunger. Night came, and I had eaten nothing but some crackers. I never knew starving could be this uncomfortable. She didn't seem to eat anything either. She was either staring at her phone or smoking while looking out the window. There were a few phone calls, but they were all made outside, so I couldn't hear them. I didn't know what they discussed, but it didn't appear the negotiation of my family was smooth. After all the hesitation, I decided to ask her. What? I need to go to the bathroom. She stole a glance at me, but acted as though she heard nothing. I said, I need to go to the bathroom. I repeated myself. This time she slowly turned toward me. You. She probably didn't expect my physiological needs. She opened her mouth awkwardly but couldn't say anything. Can't you figure something out on your own? Well, if you want, I can always just take a shit here. Clearly the type that got angry when having nothing to say, she turned her head with a stern face, knocking on the desk with her knuckle. Realizing this might be a chance to make her untie the rope, I grew silent. Not knowing my plan, she acted carefree, but kept stealing glances in my direction. Since it was about time, I sighed innocently. Guess I had to do it here after all. Wait. Seeing I wasn't joking, she stopped me with a darkened face. Are you a retard? Can't you go to the bathroom yourself? You got me tied up! Staying in an old house was one thing, but even a kidnapper wouldn't want to stay in a room filled with crap. But I can't even unzip myself like this. You are so annoying! She pushed me to the wall suddenly and turned me over. What on... I panicked over not seeing anything. I tried to turn myself back, but only heard a cold voice next to my ear. Be quiet. She pressed my body with her elbow, and I felt a cold sensation on my back. No question about what that was. No talking. No struggling. If you move, I stab. If you yell, I stab. She wasn't going to castrate me, was she? She knew that even without my genitals, I'd still need to go to the bathroom, right? Barrett. I kept under control and made sure I didn't speak. quietly awaiting her next move. Suddenly, the restriction on my hands disappeared. Oh. It was quite a relief, both mentally and physically. My hands were finally free, and I felt like all my energy was used up. I never thought moving freely could bring such happiness. Even my shoulders and neck felt much better. If I could move my hands, my chance of escape was much higher. Raise your hands. As though she saw through me, I saw the sharp knife when I turned around. Huh? I told you to raise your hands! Wait a sec. I want... She was totally not giving me a chance to explain myself. Not risking my own life, I raised my hands obediently. I can't even escape without the rope. Who'd be so dumb as to fight someone with a knife? She ignored my nagging and showed no hesitation of her movements. My happiness evaporated instantly. Within a minute of my freedom, I returned to being a prisoner. One glance at the bathroom, and antiquated was the only word I could think of to describe it. The old bathroom naturally wasn't huge. The light from the window was the only illumination, and the air smelled of mold. The tiles were engulfed with dirt, the bathtub covered in tiles, and the ink-green toilets all looked like products of the last century. The drain was so nasty I couldn't even look at it. I tried to make a face in the mirror, but the reflection was so blurry I couldn't even recognize myself. My efforts to tear the rope was in vain. I moved my tied hands back and forth, but couldn't remove it without some tool. If I could find some sort of sharp item, like a razor or a broken tile. Done yet? You better not have any funny ideas. Almost done. She sounded impatient outside the door. To avoid suspicion, I chose not to stay too long. I prepared to leave after finishing my business. Bathroom breaks were the only time I was by myself. If only I could find some weapons. I twisted the faucet. Surprisingly, there was still running water. Upon exiting, she immediately moved closer in case I was hiding something. From the rope to my pockets, she didn't miss any detail. There's nothing, really. Even the body search didn't seem to remove her suspicion of me, as though there was no way I could be disobedient. It'd be fine if I cooperate, right? I'm not brave enough to risk my life. You better not be. You're the only one in trouble if you try to escape. If the rope can't hold you, I wouldn't mind breaking your leg. Making that final threat, she returned to the window and lit a cigarette. She tiredly supported her head. You know, if you're struggling with a lot of debt and you're in dire need of money, let me give you some helpful advice. Stop smoking. I mean, I've lived with people all my life here who smoked here, and I know that cigarettes can add up over time, the money that you spend on them. Plus, it's healthier for you anyway. So, seriously, you may be, depending on how much you smoke here, you might be surprised by the amount of money you can save each month here just by quitting. The messy hair hid her expression, making it hard to tell her thoughts, which seemed to disappear with the cigarette smoke. Hey. She recklessly went through my cell and asked suddenly, "Why don't you have your mom's number here?" I accidentally deleted it. "Oh?" "She's busy. No time for me." Having no intention to talk about my family, I tried to end the topic quickly, yet she started laughing mockingly. "So busy that she doesn't even know her son was kidnapped. Isn't your dad the only one working? What's she busy with? Shopping? Afternoon tea? Buying luxury purses abroad? Probably all the above, along with screwing people that, her daddy doesn't know about. His daddy doesn't know about, excuse me. How biased can you be?" I was fed up with her unreasonable attitude, trying to paint rich people as pigs drowning in money and all sorts of luxury. They had no ability nor brains, and were only good at ordering people around with money, exhausted their employees with every day just to earn more money to waste. I didn't know how many people believed in such stereotypes, always suspecting others were doing something illegal if they had a better life than themselves. Well, that's another trait of humanity. We can be pretty fucking envious of our neighbors. In general. Most of us, anyway. Even if we are not consciously aware of it. I'm no expert on human psychology in general here, but I'm pretty sure that there's plenty of studies and research that's been done on this stuff over the past couple centuries. And if that alone isn't enough, you could just read through human history. Envy is pretty much the source of many a human conflict. Not crap. They didn't ponder the reason behind those differences, but simply lamented the social injustice and cursed others' success. Such blind hatred of the rich was simply laughable. All these claims of they are just lucky and rely on their parents. I could do the same if I were rich, or just to propel forward their self-righteousness. Biased. Hearing my words, she snorted and raised her eyebrow in disapproval. "Are you kidding me? Aren't you the ones with the bias? What can you achieve without a diploma? Hey, who let people like her in? Watch out, she must be a thief if she's this poor. Aren't these your slogans? Ha!" After her lively imitation, she burst into laughter, a voice filled with self-deprecation. "I would like to know what I've done to deserve all your bias." "Well, I don't think you've done anything to earn his bias. I mean, he doesn't even know who the fuck you are." Her tone sounded like one who had been through much discrimination. I wasn't sure what sort of experience had led to such an extreme mindset. Yet such words from the mouth of a kidnapper seemed only to prove those biased statements. Whatever. Okay, what do we got updated? Maybe it was discrimination from her being impoverished that led to such deep-seated animosity. Probably. She turned her head and was unwilling to say more. Night arrived. Her eyes sparkled like stars and focused on some faraway place I couldn't reach. It couldn't be helped. I know that. The world isn't fair. The girl's whisper was barely audible, and I wasn't sure if it was just directed at me or to herself. It echoed within the room like some spell and stayed for a long time. Many things were easier than expected. She never knew kidnapping could be this easy. He was taken without any sort of resistance. Yeah, I guess we're switching to her perspective now. The girl looked at the boy next to the wall, who curled his body up to preserve some warmth. The short and rapid breathing seemed to indicate he couldn't find peace even in a dream. Uncertain if he had really fallen asleep, the girl didn't close her eyes despite her drowsiness, afraid he might escape if she wasn't careful. You could always just lock the door. Once she got the ransom, she could start a new life, away from the stigma and boredom. The cell phone flashed a notification. Some hesitation flew across the girl's face, but it reverted back to the same look of sternness. She had long decided that it didn't matter what it would take. So long had she lived for someone else. It was time to fight for her own right. Tell me more. I am curious. Okay, so got another checkpoint. Next up will be day 2, Silence Girl. I'm going to go ahead and cut the episode off here. I think this is a good place to stop things. We can figure out what's going to happen on day 2 of our kidnapping in the next episode. Maybe we'll be able to get a little further with our kidnapper, try to get some more information about her. Because I don't think I'm going to easily find anything that I can use to escape anytime soon. At least within the first couple days anyway. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of A Light in the Dark. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.